And you decided that concrete was the given path?
Well, like, I was kind of...
He's kind of hiccuping.
So,
He's like, oh, shit. Wait.
So it was...
Wait a minute. All right, welcome to the podcast today. Today I have a super awesome guest. He has worked for me for over 8 years, which is a long time because I'm only a 13-year-old company. So he's seen this thing all the way from the very start, all the way to where we're at now, but he is very loyal to us. He is in our concrete industry, which has changed drastically. I guess our concrete division has changed drastically over the times. He's poured concrete right next to me and all the way into where I've gotten to today. So, which we don't pour concrete today, but today in the studio, I got Alex Beck. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate you for having you.
Excited.
I know you said you had a butterfly or two, but this is going to be super easy. And he denied our tequila. So just so everyone knows that. For sure, the concrete guys know how to drink tequila, but he denied that. So we can maybe do it after. So anyway, Alex, tell me a little bit. I want to know, tell us about your story, man. Like tell us on the journey, out of the chute to no pun intended, right? Out of the chute to pouring concrete.
Yeah, well, so I'm about 33 years old now. Grew up in north central Illinois, small farming community.
Bears fan.
Big Bears fan. So definitely foreign territory up here. I grew up in a small farming community. My dad always worked in construction. He was a ready mix driver growing up.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yep. My mom was in home health care. And my younger brother, who actually used to work with us for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before he started
Beck brothers.
Family. Yep. So, grew up around the agriculture, some construction, stuff like that through high school.
Is that where you worked? You worked in the...
So I did some 4-H kind of stuff. So I was showing pigs mostly, which it's a fair hobby.
You were doing what with the pigs?
I was just showing, 4-H fair, showing them, give them about the size of a dog. They grow up and they go from 10 pounds to 275 pounds.
So wait a minute, what are you doing with these pigs?
Feeding them, showing them, taking them to the fair,
you
walking around with them.
And I'm only asking, I mean, this is kind of interesting, I guess, but I've had multiple people on here in the livestock game in the beginning, and it kind of you learn some skills out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it teaches good discipline. You're caring for another live thing.
Right? Yeah.
And, chores have to be done, rain or shine, doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
So getting up, they were actually the girlfriends in high schools, pigs, but somehow I got sucked into doing the chores, so not sure. Randomly this will pop up and she'll see it. Like on a Facebook, do you know them? I think it teaches some good discipline, gives you some accountability moving forward. At the same time, I was actually working on a flower nursery. So I do that.
This is in high school?
Yep.
Flower nursery.
So in the
flower nursery.
Yeah. So we'd wake up, everything from planting, trimming, bouquets, top to bottom. Do that 5-6 days a week.
God, you didn't tell me this either. Why am I just finding this out now?
Yeah, so it was kind of a flourish.
This should have been in your initial interview.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we skipped that part. And then from there, prior to coming to MAK, we always did hands-on stuff.
Whoa. What'd you do? You didn't go to college?
Well, I did, but I'm getting there.
Oh.
So this is still high school.
Okay,
so,
high school.
Back home, always did some hands-on building sheds, helping neighbors, doing stuff like that with my dad. Aunt had a horse ranch, so we were always mending fences and doing that kind of stuff. And then going to college. Originally went to college in Wisconsin, Platteville, Wisconsin. Went up there to study engineering and play some football. At the time, it was a good decision. Once I got there, I kind of realized that it wasn't for me. I wanted to be away from home. I grew up in a town of 1,400 people, so everybody kind of knew everybody and one of those deals, and I just wanted to be away from that.
Okay.
So this was it was the one school that had recruited me that was kind of far enough away, but not too far away.
Yep.
But once I got there, I was just didn't really love it. So I came back that next summer, and that's actually when I really got into construction. I guess it would be my first construction job.
Okay.
We were, house had burnt down and we were just kind of building it from the foundation up. So everything from...
This is in Wisconsin too.
This is actually in the suburbs of Chicago.
Okay. Because how far was Wisconsin? Like how far you thought
it was
you
about
moved?
2.5 hours.
So you moved away in your eyes.
Yep. I moved away. I was like, okay, I'm going to be independent. I'm going to take care of myself. Like my parents had beat this into me. I'm going to, not
cool.
physically, but metaphorically, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like you're an adult now, like you're going to, and it was just, it wasn't a good fit. So moved back that summer, got a construction job with a buddy of mine's dad. And we were doing everything from standing walls, flooring, painting, some tile work, everything, top to bottom. There's just the three of us. I think one day he actually made me like shovel out a septic tank. So that was probably like the worst day of my life. It was 90 degrees out. So I did that for a summer, and I always wanted to go into construction growing up.
Yeah.
And not necessarily construction, but I loved like engineering and architecture.
Okay.
My grandfather was an engineer for Motorola. My uncle's an engineer for Mahindra.
Yeah.
Like the Bobcat affiliate.
Yeah.
So that was always kind of something that I really liked and enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I could see it kind of going that way. Or at least I wanted it to.
That's the plan?
Right. That was the plan. So after that, I came back after that first year, and a buddy of mine was going to school up here. Loved it. And he had the same mentality. Like, I want to get away from home. I want to come up here, come to North Dakota for engineering. And he's like, you got to come check it out. So like, all right, told my mom. She's like, all right, we'll load you in the car. We'll take you up there. We'll check it out. Loved it. Fell in love with Grand Forks in, 20 minutes.
Really?
Transferred up. Ended up just kind of doing the school thing. That was going pretty well. Got through my first couple semesters of engineering. I think must have been about 1.5 years into that. I actually started delivering pizzas. Delivered pizzas for 5 years.
That service industry, man, that's where you make some cash.
Yeah, it was turn and burn, fast pace. Especially hockey nights in North Dakota.
Oh yeah,
can't get it out fast enough. A lot more stress in that than you'd
anticipate.
Yeah, right.
Delivering pizzas should be a low stress job.
Yeah, you'd think so. Unfortunately, some angry customers every now and again, but ended up doing that, and meanwhile, met some buddies to play softball, summer league softball that we played together, and that's actually how I met you.
Yeah.
Just randomly fell on a team with, I can't remember, what were we? Dust?
No. Oh, man. I was on the sidewind or the oh gosh. Been on
ground round team, I think is what it started as.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Those ugly green uniforms printed backwards. Great quality.
Printed backwards, yeah. It didn't matter. We were drunk most of the time anyway.
Yeah, and I think that was right around the time you were just starting out.
Oh, okay.
I had met you, and I know you had Chris on a few weeks back.
Yep.
And I had met Chris, too, at the same time. And
did your little brother work here before you did?
No, I came 1 year first.
Okay,
1 year before.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
He was actually with Tony Anderson.
That's right.
I don't know if we're supposed to say that, but...
well, it's fine. It's fine. We're good.
Yeah. So I came first. And that's kind of just in passing, we had conversations like, have you ever poured concrete before?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever worked in construction? And yeah, was that 2013 or 14? 14. Must have been 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was going to school, doing the engineering thing, kind of ran into you and had met you. And filled out an application. Came in, interviewed with you, and it was honestly the start as a summer job. I was going to go do my 5 years. That's what the first plan was.
Yep.
And then
you were in education, I think, even.
So I did 2.5 years of engineering, and then the grind. It was midnights on campus in the computer lab. No social life.
Yeah.
And it just, the deeper I got, like I kind of realized that I favored the in the field work. more than sitting behind the screen and kind of doing that and just running through computer programs and design work. It wasn't the hands-on, like I didn't get the satisfaction out of it like I did, building a shed or coming to work and pouring a slab. So I switched to education. I did that for 4.5 years. It took me about 4.5 years to get through that.
I actually went to school for mechanical engineering for like a year and a half. And like, then I like realized like all the calculuses I had to take, and it's like mechanical engineer is probably not for me. It's probably for the person who wants to sit behind the screen. And I just figured that out myself too. It's like, what am I learning calculus 1 through diffie-q? It's like, I don't even care about some of this. And how am I going to ever use this in my life? That's why it lost me. It was like, and I grew up in construction, so I was like, this is terrible. You made it 2.5 years. I only made it a year and a half.
It might have been better because you said NDSU?
I was in UND, mechanical engineering program.
UND. Okay.
Yeah, so like flying stuff, and we were, of course, everything's, whatever, aerospace and whatever. It's flying planes and the mechanical engineering program. It was like, I just was so enthused with like cars.
Yep.
So it's like, that was my hobby. I was like, I want to learn how to build a car, like every nut, bolt. Well, then I found out that's super uninteresting. And I just kind of like the final product.
Yeah.
And it wasn't nothing to with like the design of the car. It's more or less how to put the car together, which completely lost me. And didn't know why I had to take all these math classes, and it was like, I wasn't an engineer.
Yeah.
I was an entrepreneur. Unfortunately. So I had to switch.
I think they say every hour you're in the classroom, you're supposed to be working like 3 or 4 outside of it.
Yeah.
I was like, enough days in the week.
what am I working on?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know, build something. It's like, what does that have to do with mechanical engineering? I got to draw it on a TV and a program and
like Inventor or whatever that used to be, or it's bad to say. I was in school in 2009 and 10. I was doing that, but now I look at the programs that like our estimating crew across the street are running compared to like the CAD stuff we were running in 2010.
Hey, yeah.
Like where was this?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
much. It's advanced a lot even since engineering was in for me. It's like, I still have the TI 83 Plus. That's been my only advantage to taking engineering and calculuses, but still use it today, and we've ripped some reels on that. So So okay, you went into education. Then. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah. So I studied education at UND up the road here. I have a bachelor's of science in social sciences with a minor in special education.
Oh.
So I can... I
didn't know that either.
I got a couple endorsements in psychology and sociology, which I'd like to think help me every now and again, even with what I'm doing now. But so I can obtain, at this point, I'm not legally licensed to teach, but I could teach about 7 different high school subjects.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Jeez. And you decided that concrete was the given path?
Well, like I was kind of
he's kind of hiccuping. So, he's like, oh shit! Wait.
So it was
wait a minute.
It was just a summer job. Really, is kind of what it looked.
Right.
I wanted to get out of delivering pizzas for minimum wage, and like I said, I met you, and it was a opportunity to make some more money and do something that interested me a lot more. At least I didn't get any satisfaction at the end of the day. It's like, okay, I ran around, I worked, I got a paycheck. That was it. When I came to work here, at that point we were substantially smaller. I think our meetings consisted of 6 or 7 of us.
6 or 7 of us?
Yeah.
I think, where was your first office when you started here? Or where were we at?
I think
it's hospital?
Yeah, is it
across from the hospital?
Is it 101 Dental or something now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 2-room office with a bathroom. There was one meeting room.
I'd host like a meeting in the morning or Monday morning.
Monday morning meetings.
Yeah. I'd host the meeting. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think that's where the process book, I don't know, have you talked about processes on here yet?
Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll get into all the nitty gritty. We want to make sure if there's a concrete guy listening to this, because they want to know what you know, they want to take their company to the next level. They need to know all the things that we've went through the last 8 years, right? Like you've been through all of it. So I think it's super helpful to the listener. If you're in construction or business, in the construction industry, almost any industry, you'll kind of see the ways that we've had to break through different levels and barriers. I mean, it's different levels create different problems.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they were
probably where his sociology degree comes into play. He was referring to. So, but yeah, go ahead, man. That's
yeah. It was just and it was. I think. Well, I mean, and that was back in the day. You were pouring alongside of us.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even know. Do we just have one crew? I mean, it was.
We had two. We had the patio crew and the foundation crew.
Oh man, that was a level up for me.
Yep. So I spent most of my summer at Coal Creek by your old place there, putting a few house foundations in the ground, learning that aspect, that side. And then, I mean, we had, I think, six field guys, and you were 7. So when we had, at that time, if we had a 25, 30-yard pour, it was all hands on deck. You were out bidding, you'd come screaming down the block in your old Ford pickup like, oh, Bud's here, get to work.
Oh, yeah. The 83 Ford?
No, I was after. It was the F-250.
Oh, yeah, the 7.3. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
The big one.
Yeah. That's create some fear in you guys.
Yep. I remember you driving by. We could see you coming from a mile away on some of those jobs. Gravel's just flying.
Yeah. I was just talking about this with my buddy Nick Sherrick. He's like, it's funny when you leave the office, the boss leaves the office. It's funny how things just change a little bit.
Just a hair.
You
see the gravel flying. You're like, okay, everybody put your boots on. Look busy.
Hard hats, whatever we need.
The thing that's still...
Get your Crocs in 4-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, back in the day when we could still do that.
I had Crocs on.
And I remember the thing that still sticks today used to say when your dad's like, if you're not doing anything, at least start cleaning something. Like, look busy, stay busy, right? I mean, we still use that in the shop today. You're like, hey, if somebody walks in here and you're just standing around, like, at least look like you're cleaning something.
Yeah.
Or, be cleaning, improve something, right?
Yep.
Don't just waste the time. So
we still use that. Still rubbing off. Here we go.
Oh yeah. Yep. Greggy.
Making it happen. So then we're running 2 crews. You decided to join. I remember specifically that year when you started. I think there was a guy that we hired. It was an older gentleman that was your boss.
Yep. Chuck.
And you were under him.
Yep.
Right? Like you were his guy or something? Or was the crew just you guys?
I don't know if maybe he got the short end of the stick at that point. Cause I mean, I had some construction background, but not concrete. Right. And I remember when I walked in for my interview, I had a shirt and a tie on.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, bro.
I didn't know.
Are you the secretary or
I didn't know what I walked into. I was like, I don't know. I was just trying, and I mean, still at that point, it was you and Chelsea were in the office together. And
I was like, bro, you're way overqualified already. Like,
well, and
I think dirt. Let me see your fingers. Like they got calluses, and
I think I interviewed in like March, and you're like, "Well, season won't start till May. We'll let you know in a few weeks."
Oh, I do remember that.
It was like 4 hours later. I had a missed call from you, so I called you back. You're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna bring you on." I'm like, well, that was a quick 4 months or 2 months there, but so jumped in with Chuck, and I mean, we hit the ground running. When I got the job, I was pumped. So I called my parents, and I knew my dad. Like, I didn't understand what a ready mix driver did, right? I was like, oh, he drives a truck.
Dad,
like,
what the hell are they doing?
My dad drives a truck. So I called him, and the first thing he's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, what? What do you mean? I just got a new job. Like, I'm making more money. Like, I'm going to be killing it. Out in the sun, probably have a great tan. And he's like, you have no idea what you're getting into. He's like, those guys kill themselves. I was like, no, this is great. Like, this is what I want to do. And he's like, I'm telling you. I'm like, well, it's a summer job, right? Like, that's what it's for. I'm 19, 20 years old. Yeah. No, I was older than that, 23 years old. And looking back now, I mean, this is 8-9 years later. It's like, well, kind of showed him. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And
around.
It just kind of shows, like, it's Unfollow the Herd is the podcast, but it's like, people don't, like, you had lots of education. You looked like you shouldn't be a concrete worker when you came in for your interview. It's pretty easy for us to hire a guy that comes in that, like, doesn't have holes in his jeans and he like has 2 matching shoes. It's like, this is a benefit. Here we go. Yeah. It's like, look at yourself before you leave. You don't smell like cigarettes. Wow. It's like, wow, this guy either is going to pan out or he's going to realize concrete's really hard and your dad was right.
Yeah. Well, and
so he was your motivation probably to make sure.
And I mean, that's not to say, any job has difficult days and obstacles to get through. But I mean, I kind of give him a laugh here and there. I'm like, well, you were wrong. Get out here.
That's funny. Your brother came on right on the next year.
So I did 1 year with Chuck doing foundations and getting my feet wet. And little change here or there, a few new bodies coming in, and and that's something too. I think when we first started, we had turnover like crazy. So that's something that we talk about all the time across the road there. And the next year my brother rolled in. He was working for another construction company in town, and he was seeing everything that we were doing, talking. He was playing ball with us too, and he's like, "Well, no, I'm out of it. I got to get out of here." And came and worked for us with the patio crew back in the big stamp patio days. Yeah, decorative concrete.
Yeah, that was my level up in the concrete world.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few souvenirs in the shop of yours still.
Yeah.
Those stamps are still.
Those will stay around. I'll stamp some more patios. They'll be expensive patios, but I'll do it.
Well, you were out there. I mean, every pour day, Mark was there, just giving us hell.
Yeah, I think when in that time, I realized, I think 2010 is where I started, and it was 13 or 14. I don't remember that year specifically, but we split into 2 crews, which was a big deal for me, and I needed to hire twice the staff. Well, to control twice the staff that I wasn't leading anymore, we hired that older gentleman, and I didn't have any processes in place though. That kind of let him run his show, and I've done that to a point in most of my career of, I felt like I could rely on him because of experience, right? And bring some new things to the table. Well, other than a real clean trailer, I don't know what else, he had a different mentality. Everyone has a different mentality. So, bringing you on would be, the sounding board of, hey, this foundation's taking 2 weeks to set up, and some of the challenges I remember we had.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I think that's really when we started pounding those, not pounding processes, not necessarily our field processes. How are we going to pour concrete so we know what's going on, right? Because I was that next year, I think I jumped right to a foreman. Not sure if I was necessarily ready,
right?
But had enough knowledge of. It was mostly residential stuff we were doing, right? Driveways, sidewalks, stuff like that. I think we kind of took a little step back away from the foundation stuff that year.
Yep.
But it was like, okay, we need to make a book.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing and how are you doing it? So, if you weren't there, because you were still bidding.
Yeah, I know.
You were still going.
Yeah.
You were still watching jobs. Yeah. And it was like, we need to nail this down.
Yeah.
Because we got so many questions. I mean, I think I used to blow your phone up. I think I was eating up all your data at that time. Just like, Mark, what are we doing?
Yeah. Alex Block. Figure it out. That's the motto.
Have you seen this YouTube video?
Yeah. Have you seen this YouTube video? You find the power within.
But I mean, those early days, and even now, a lot of our customers that we're still working with, we were looking back, and I was having a conversation with Chris. I was like, we were doing work with those guys, the UND, the mill, stuff like that. It was at a much smaller scale.
Right.
But I mean, those relationships were fostered then.
Right. Planting seeds, that's where you got to start in business, and especially early. You can't, you got to take for some companies, I think we hung pictures on the wall, like just to plant a seed. It wasn't even, and then we got to build a hangar for them. It was $12 million. So it's like, I went from picture hanging to building a $12 million facility for someone. I can say that's a pretty good seed that I planted.
Yeah. I mean, in the span of 5-6 years, something like that.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. It's just, but we were doing this early on in 14 probably.
Yep.
And, I know you went into the foreman role. You were saying
nervous,
not knowing what the hell you were doing. I'll vouch for that. But it all comes back down to me showing you the process, right?
Yeah. And
I didn't give you a lot.
Well, we were kind of figuring out, that was early day. I mean, everybody was helping everybody. We were all it was just kind of circular. Slowly growing though. I think by that point we had kind of crept up. Now we're adding a few more bodies here.
Yeah.
I think a couple more. We might have had a receptionist. That would have been right around the time you started having the girls, stuff like that. So
Then you add kids to the mix when you think you're not busy enough. It's like, 90 hours of work. Now let's have kids.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought this was supposed to be great. This is stressful. It adds more stress. But you figure out more ways to be productive and efficient. And I think when everyone's doing everything in a business, nothing is getting accomplished, right? Because you're missing the one person. When you can focus on one area and get really good and make processes for it, that's when the company starts to roll. And I think it took me 6 years to figure out a process that for Stamp Concrete, whatever you needed to do without me on site.
Right. I mean,
because if it was finishing concrete, I was there.
Right.
I made sure it went down right.
But the edges were pristine. That was always don't get them started.
Just don't screw up the edge, please.
Expansion's at the right height. And the edges aren't rolled over.
Oh my gosh. I think to this day, do I not say that? Like that's the first thing I look for. Yep. What does the edges look like? I could get everyone can smooth the middle out. Jesus, but you gotta, it's all about the edges and the brooming and it's the details.
Hates a heavy broom.
Yeah.
Mind you, now we've moved more into commercial concrete where, we're
paving
roads.
I get anxiety looking at some of the concrete. It's like, oh my gosh.
Now we're like dragging a rake through it so we can get enough texture
grit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different now, but man, my dad just bled into my body as it's pretty much body work and then you run a broom over it. Mm-hmm. So we'd finish it 4 times before we'd broom. Like just the amount of manpower to finish it that many times.
Yeah.
And then throw the big float. Now the little float. Now the Fresno. Now the edge. Now don't overwork it. Mm-hmm. Now broom it.
Right.
It's a perfect time. Have the nice even broom. Oh, what is windy? Well, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's so many dynamics.
You love that.
Yeah. So a lot to learn though. But the process is what I don't know if that helped you, but
yep. So we sat down. We came up through, and we still carry them today. Obviously, we change them. We go through and one thing over the summers that we've done, wintertime too, and used to be more included with this was training. Different trainings. Yeah. We have the opportunity to fly out to Vegas every now and again.
Training our liver.
After class.
Team culture, actually. I would say that's
quite a bit of that. But
got to have a good team.
Going out and gaining the education and sitting through these classes and walking through the convention and just picking people's brain, seeing the newest technologies, and that's honestly where the field's going. I mean, just like anything is technology.
Right.
I don't think,
it's our mission statement here now.
I think, they're saying AI is going to take over everything. And there's, obviously paving roads and stuff like that, but there's a human factor to finishing.
Yes.
And quality control and stuff like that. And just having those experiences and making those. And I still email with some of those guys.
Cool.
We have a big pour coming up. The floor flatness was just mind-blowing, and I'm sure, I don't know if you've had that posted. You had posts earlier when we poured.
Well, yeah, you're getting crazier specs on everything, right? Like tighter tolerances, the specs of these, and it's concrete. You get one shot.
Right.
Like, unfortunately, it dries, gets hard.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's going to happen, and you need to get it right in one time. So in concrete, I think what's helped like me in business is like the preparation that's needed to have the 2-hour pour go well, or the 3, you know what I mean? Like the amount of preparation and everything to line up and a plan B. Right now, you have to make a decision.
And I think, with the growth of MAK and especially our concrete division, we have the opportunity now where, like myself, I focus on that side. What do I need to have in place when my guys show up to make sure that we're putting down the best product possible?
Right.
Are we is everything down from rebar placement, vapor barrier? Are the concrete specs right? What kind of environment am I going to have?
Yeah.
Is there something I can do to give them a better opportunity? Whereas before, even 4 or 5 years ago, that's not maybe the space my head would have been in.
Oh, okay.
It was like, are my forms up? What's the grade? Things like that. I didn't have the time or maybe even the knowledge to kind of understand, like, okay, there's a lot of other factors that we need to take into account right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
To make sure that, this 50-50 floor flatness and levelness spec is met.
Yeah.
So that's been just a tremendous learning opportunity and growth opportunity, I'd say. Like,
yeah.
Going from grab that rake to, now I'm living in a kind of different space. And
right. So maybe take me through that process in a somewhat summary fashion of like, you started with the edge, perfected that, right? Like,
yeah, that's how I got my first raise, actually.
Yeah. You passed the...
Mark came up. I still remember we were pouring it was a sidewalk, driveway, stamp patio combo for, I believe the lady used to own Dairy Queen. Something in town here.
And, yeah, sure.
And we were pouring it out, and Mark came up behind me. He's like, all right, you're finishing this whole edge all the way down this front sidewalk. This is on you. If you do it right and I don't have to fix it, you can have a raise. I was like, what?
God, that was brilliant. I must have been hungover.
It could have been. I don't know. It was hotter than sin that day, but
I don't want to finish it, and I want you to do it right, and there's a raise on the line.
I was like, all right.
So all you had to do was finish it.
Finish it, mag it out clean, and if it was done well, then you're getting a raise. So, and I think it happened. So, I was pretty pumped about that.
Hey, well then, you knew what was at stake. You knew that there was a raise. Like that's a good mentality to have, and it made you a good finisher today. And
yeah, I mean, and that's something even now. So my role necessarily isn't finishing concrete anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Love it though. Every now and again, I like to get out there and just remind the guys like, what? Why are we running the 6-footer? You can't handle the 10 or what? So or the bump cutter.
My day working for Greg and finishing concrete, other than the 4 times it rained, was phenomenal. We had that thing like body work, and I was loving every minute. And then it rained 4 times,
goodness,
as we're brooming.
Yeah,
of course. So anywho, but finishing concrete, there's something like some people say mowing the lawn, some people say other things. Like it just brings me like a sense of like quietness, and
those satisfaction videos or like like if you can get a first push bull float and you bring it back and it's just sealed. Right. We need to make one of those. We need to make a reel of that.
It is. There you go. I love that. Yeah. And there's something satisfying about it. And I don't even know what time's doing. I don't even know what I'm thinking about. All I'm thinking about is making it perfect. Yep. And you just can really focus on that. And that's all I focus on. It's amazing. Like
you put your head down.
I just love it. Like it's peaceful to me. Like finishing concrete is great.
The day flies.
Yeah.
Like there's always something to do.
Right.
Top to bottom. If you don't know what to do, better start cleaning tools. Like that's
start cleaning tools.
There's concrete on the ground. We better be busy.
Yeah. So talk me into like, all right, we're leveling up now. You said you're not on the cruise anymore. Maybe walk me. I think you even had a couple stepping stones in between there. You were the foreman, and then
So we got promoted to foreman, working on a UND project, another one of those seeds that was planted.
Yeah.
We just hammered out a central campus improvements job, which went phenomenally.
Yeah, right. Great. That's like $3 million.
Yeah.
And we were doing miscellaneous concrete patches for pennies.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
6 panels here, 2 panels
there.
That
was like a donation.
Yeah.
Like I feel. But anyhow.
So kind of worked through there, and that was my big learning curve. I'd say was, I understood the basics, build a box, grade it out, put the rebar down, and then pour the concrete, right?
Yep.
Make it flat, make it look good, broom it, move on. And through that kind of, now that would have been 4 or 5 years, is kind of when, as a company too, we really saw a shift. We slowly got out of that commercial, we were still doing house foundations and stuff, but, we'd moved buildings a couple times, offices.
Yeah.
Over that course, we moved kind of where we are now.
Yeah.
Built one of our first commercial spaces, our big shop out back.
Yes. Yeah.
Put that in from start to finish. And just, had the opportunity to kind of see the difference from, we could say grandma's patio to a more commercial build, right? So now we went from 20-yard driveway paves to, and I think when we moved back at the shop here, I think we were doing like 60 or 80 and we thought it was big.
Big deal. Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. We went from an IT screed, which we still have, just rattling with the Subaru motor on there.
Oh yeah.
To truss screeds and pump trucks and
big boy stuff in our mind, right?
We were swinging for the fence.
Pump trucks on site. Oh, shit's about to go down.
We were busy and that was the one thing too. Yeah. Always busy. Always busy. Always like, what's the next step? What's the next job? How can we get professionally better? Where, I run into some people and they're like, well, you guys went like 0 to 60. I'm like, well, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah,
you
overnight success. Yeah,
it's like
8 years later.
there was a few long nights then,
Yeah, right.
But yes, so we back to your question of like the other thing. So I was still going to school at that time. Finished my degree.
Yep.
And had scheduled a meeting with you about coming back, and it actually got offered a job to work in the special ed department at Red River.
Right.
And it was like 15 minutes before I was supposed to come meet with Mark. And I was like, well, my mom's going to be real mad if I spent all this time. Now I'm up to 6.5, 7 years in college. And I'm like, am I going to throw it? Like, just tuck it in the pocket and move on? Like, got this concrete thing coming.
Yeah.
And
it's a hard decision. I mean, you're at a crossroads right there.
Yeah. And so I was like, it wasn't a full-time I'd just be full-time in the sped department there. And, looking back now, I'm thankful I saw a lot of growth opportunity working here. I'd every year come back and gain more knowledge, had the opportunity to take on a new role. Financially that was beneficial as well.
You're right.
And made the decision to kind of stick with MAK full time.
Right.
So, and that was, I still have nightmares. I went to school for so long. It's like Sunday mornings I wake up and think I have homework to do.
Dude, there's so many people out there though that go to school. Some of you, even our other guys that went to school for aviation and racked up this debt. Is college there to procrastinate, or are you going to find, you don't know what you're going to bring, right? Like people taking a break in college and then not going back. Well, sometimes they just find out what they're good at and what they like doing, right? Like right. I'm not against that because you went to 7 years because you're like, wow, at year 5, I'm committed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, even if you would have pulled out, your mom would have been, you had expectations because you wanted to make mom happy.
Yep.
You had pressure on you and you're like, and then you got down to year 7 or 8 when you graduated.
Yep.
You came to the crossroads and you should have went straight. Well, mom wanted you to go straight because that's the path she saw for you. But you took a left. I mean, you stayed in something that you were more passionate about.
Yep, for sure. And
it was an opportunity thing for you.
It was. I
mean, is that what you saw, like the future of it? Or
I really did. And kind of like we mentioned earlier is I have a slightly unique view, I guess, of MAK that not a lot of guys that work here get to see it. They get to see the culture side,
Yeah.
But I'd like to, I was almost ground zero, not quite, little after, but just the change and opportunity and the growth and the adaptation. And we preach to our guys, like, we want you guys to grow. We want to promote you guys. We want to help you guys, whether your venture's with us or outside of us.
Right.
We want to give you the foundation or the blocks to elevate yourselves.
Right.
But the thing with that is, it all starts with you. And when the guys see you kind of taking those steps and you going into maybe uncomfortable ventures for you or new opportunities for you, it really translates all the way down. And, that's kind of where I was at even this last step. So I did the foreman thing for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And they were like, how do you feel about, actually I was walking by Mike's, our GM's office, and he kind of spun his chair around. He just pointed at me. He's like, project manager. And I was like, are you asking or telling? Like, I don't, he's like, telling. Like, all right. He's like, we'll have a meeting about it. We'll sit you down. And this goes back to the process thing. He's like, we have the process, right? Here's your job, your expectations. So we'll sit down. We'll talk about them.
Yeah.
If you think you can do it, perfect. If not, is there training? Is there something we need to help you learn?
Right.
But it was never, it wasn't, I was nervous, obviously, but it wasn't like, I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Because we all we had the opportunity to like grow together, learn together,
right.
That kind of deal. So,
well, you guys, you saw opportunity. You were able to move yourself up. Obviously, I like how you referred. Yeah, I definitely, I'm always putting myself in uncomfortable situations. Not that I want to. It probably relates to my hair loss and maybe some gray hairs, but I feel like I've always accelerated myself by putting myself in I don't like, necessarily growing. It's not comfortable. It's just not. Like I could probably just hang out and relax with you guys and just be your boss and lead from the office, you know, and stick. But now I'm doing other ventures, and I'm really it's just trying to raise the whole bar of everything, you know. And I just realized that being in uncomfortable situations is just to grow myself and hopefully to grow all of you guys, right? Like at some point, businesses get stuck or people get stuck and just they get comfortable. And they're like, well, I don't want to lose the nest egg. Well, I keep investing the nest egg again and again and again. And that's, you know, basically I put all my profits back into the company to try and grow and I like to say disrupt.
Well, and I mean, I'd say that's, I mean, couldn't be more of an accurate statement.
Yeah.
I mean, I go out to eat with the girlfriend and have the MAK hoodie on. I mean, we get recognized everywhere. I mean, MAK guy, what's Mark up to? What are you guys doing next? You know, where are you guys working? And I mean, we just had a pre-bid meeting with the gentleman. He goes, you know, I called you guys because I can see your growth. You know, when a larger company brings you in and tries to, you know, sub you out and has nothing but good things to say about like our growth, our growing experience, and even down to like you have a good, clean looking company. Everything you do is clean. Your trailers show up, they're clean. Your skids show up. You guys present yourselves well.
Right.
I mean, it's top to bottom. And I think, you know, that starts with you.
Yeah.
Really pushing that in, you know, beating that into our heads at early on, you know.
Right. Yeah, you got to be able to invest in yourself, your skills, your equipment. You know, it's like our mission statements basically. I mean, we want to have a modern style construction company. We want North Dakota isn't necessarily known as modern. I wouldn't think North Dakota and I wouldn't think modern are in the same sentence.
No.
But we advanced ourselves. We kept up like Stamp Concrete. No one was doing it in the area, but I was like, we can bring it here. I can do it. So I tried it, you know. So so what are you doing now then? You Mike when did Mike give you the nod? Mike's our GM, by the way, so he's what he says goes.
So that would have been this is my second year more of the management side. Okay. So stepping out of the field and more into the management, some bidding, estimating, really delving into with a fine-tooth comb into the plans and having a better understanding of what it is that we need to bring to the table for these projects. So lining up material, setting schedules, unfortunately attending a lot of meetings, pre-bid meetings, construction meetings.
Enters the dreaded
in-house,
meeting. Yeah. It just happens, man. Unfortunately, it's like you got to go. So what's your involvement with like the day-to-day crews and kind of how do you organize your day? So, you know, with that, we're doing a little restructuring on our side. You know, our goal is always, I think we like to set our company goals, right? Our gross revenue goals for concrete every year. Yeah. And we're not necessarily happy with just meeting those. We always want to just give it that little nudge. Yeah. So that's our goal this year is, you know, I'm not entirely sure exactly what, we haven't pinpointed the number 100% right now, but so this year my role will still be some management side, but taking slightly more field oriented, a lot of quality control, a lot of on-site timelines, critical path driving. Yep. Working with the foreman more hands-on, and then our other project manager will kind of handle the more day-to-day office side, the financial side. So we're just going to try to split it up, you know, with the level of projects or the projects that we're trying to get into. Need a little more hands-on. Yeah, so. I love what you guys do in the metric side of like, you were showing me that. I was visiting you guys, so like we can talk KPIs or performance indicators, just what you're tracking from these crews to really tell them every day where they're at and so keeping these projects, because these are big projects. We're not, I mean, what's the minimum size projects? I mean, a couple 100,000 now? Yeah, probably 200,000-300,000. I mean, and really is you tell me. You know more. I mean, if we can get a nice
nice gravy paving job, 200,000-300,000 and knock her out in 3-4 days and move on to the next one is ideal. But I love the metrics. That's kind of my baby. I take care of that.
Which is really, really with the crews. I mean, it really tells them the story.
So we, and that's top to bottom. So we run those numbers and everyone down, I mean, our foremen, our laborers, superintendents, up to our GM and our estimators all know these numbers. They kind of give us goals in the field. Can you beat it? And they also provide us with accurate bidding tools, right? So we can bid a job appropriately with the amount of man hours and budget on that side. So
what's like your top 3 metrics that you watch to make sure your concrete crews are performing? Or saying like a new listener, small concrete company trying to get bigger, what should they watch? Because, anything you track in life, you can beat. But if you don't track anything, you can't beat it. And you have no history.
So we have six major concrete pours or pour types that we track. Simmons walls, ICF walls, sidewalks, paving square footage, finished floor, power trowel square footage.
Okay.
And did I say curb?
Curb. Nope.
Curb.
Oh, good.
So those are kind of our big 6. That's kind of where we live right now. That's most of our jobs.
Yeah.
And so we take everything into account from the time that the guys show up on site and start prep through pour. So man hour per linear foot or man per hour per square foot.
Okay.
And so we track those numbers. We set we started this a couple years ago.
Yep.
So we kind of have a baseline.
So what's let's just say a linear foot. Let's do a wall and a footing, or I don't know if you track them separately or together.
So footings are
what's a good number? What's a good number?
So right now, so we're working on a project. This is for the
technical concrete person out there.
So right now, in the wonderful climate of North Dakota, we're pouring some footings and walls for a foundation.
Yep.
Ideally, in a June, our concrete crews can probably run from forming, rebar, and pouring. We'll do roughly 2.5 to 3 linear feet of footing per man hour. So that's set up to pour, walk away, it's done. Right? Every man, if they have to come back out or do whatever, that's a knock, right? That's so if they have a warranty stuff, well, I need to know. So obviously that's an issue, goes against that, right?
Got it.
So about 2.5, 3 linear feet. Our ICF walls, we're doing about 4 feet per man hour. So that's a 4-foot wall, 3 courses high, rebar poured, anchor bolts set, out the door.
So this can be so helpful not only for tracking your crews and see how they're doing, but it's also, imagine your estimators or you as an estimator can price projects fairly quickly with these metrics. Yep.
And some things that we also try to watch with that too is so you can be fast, right? Quality has to be there. Okay. And I kind of mentioned that. So if we have to go back, that cuts against the score.
Got it.
Right? And one thing I learned in Vegas is, if you have to go back, it costs you 3 times. The first time you did it, the time that you had to go back to fix it, and that opportunity for the next job.
Yeah,
right?
I love that. Yeah,
so
it's true.
So with that, and we track waste, we want to know as close as you can get, right? So if my guys are pouring a concrete slab, which is great, right? Yep. Everybody loves pour day. Even Jen, she's out there with the drones taking pictures.
Yep, pictures, marketing.
Full PPE though, otherwise she gets the boot.
Oh yeah. We do reels of her.
But we're tracking concrete waste because that's money on the ground in our opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that comes off of something we started doing more of is if I have a 52 yards slab.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to take, and my grade's dead nuts, right? Because we did it by hand.
What's dead nuts again?
Perfect. Right on the money.
Just had to clarify.
Having that balance truck, not ordering.
That's a concrete term for good.
Dead nuts. So mitigating those waste products, right?
Okay.
So obviously you need enough material to do the job, but cutting down on the ICF waste, cutting down on concrete waste, because it's money flying away.
So my dad took this to like next level, like the grade have to be dead nuts, because if your grade's 4 1/8 inches or 4 1/4 inches, it burns a little more mud. Yep. It's supposed to be 4, right? Like when you're talking about a 900 square foot or thousands of square feet,
Mm-hmm.
it can be a lot of extra concrete.
It goes fast. Yeah. We just finished last fall. We did three slabs, 12,000 square feet apiece.
Yeah.
Storage shops.
Yep.
Back. And we came in, we were about our grade was the amount of concrete per each pour was, so obviously they're large pours,
Yep.
thickened footings and everything else. But we were coming in about 2% in concrete difference between them.
Oh, okay.
So over that total square footage, the amount of concrete to pour 1 versus 2 versus 3
Yep.
was all within about 2%.
And that's
pretty
decent.
close.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So how are you mitigating the concrete usage? Is this just a grading thing? Is this modern technology using 2-grade, or how are you preventing lost concrete?
So it starts with our processes. So we mentioned earlier, we have a concrete process book that every trailer that we have has.
Gotcha.
So if there's a question top to bottom, how tall of a stake should I use for this form?
Oh.
To spacing of rebar, unless specified obviously in the spec somewhere. So everything is done the same. Crew to crew, foreman to foreman, PM to PM.
Gotcha.
We do everything exactly the same.
Key to scaling.
Technologies is huge. Laser graders, attachments, even down to, using the same compaction method on everything.
Wow.
So you have the same variables.
Gotcha.
Is kept the same. Pouring process, it's the same. We use the same pump, same screed, same crews. Finishers were the same. So they really get that process down.
Gotcha.
And we communicate this with our crews, right? So if our goal is whatever, 7, 8, 9 million, well, if we're just throwing away 3 yards here, 4 yards there, well, at the end of the day, it comes out of the bottom number, right? So we gotta make sure that we're really keeping those tight.
Okay. Gotcha. And so if there's never 6 yards in the trucks that leaves, or do you try to use that, or is that a byproduct?
If we have the opportunity and we can kind of get ahead, always have something ready, right? Always, I think that's the best. That might be the best advice I could give.
Always have
if you have a big
something
pour,
ready.
If you have a big pour and you might have a balance, always have somewhere to put it, right? So if you maybe you have a curb shot ready, maybe you have a sidewalk that the guys have been prepping up,
right.
and you go, okay, maybe I clicked the wrong button. Or it was in inches and not tenths or something.
Oh, sure. Problems happen.
But always sidewalk, or sometimes we have some office improvement for our shop office.
Yeah.
So having somewhere back there to put it.
Got it.
As long as the driver.
I suppose molds of something you could have,
and that's something even like something we kind of looked into, like jersey barriers.
Yeah.
Having molds for those,
right?
Or barricades.
5 or 6 of them that you can just pour into. Yeah, those are all good ideas, because any kind of waste. I remember my dad, if they left with a yard, oh God, he would lose sleep. The guy would, because he's like, that's literally all the labor that it took. He thinks it's a failure point because he didn't grade good enough. And he's like, guys, this is not good. They have a yard extra. We need you. This is my labor for the day.
Yep.
It's $150. I would pay for someone to work all day. So that's how he would refer to it in his mind. And that's why it would drive him crazy. So he would literally, last wheelbarrow, it's rocking, it's like rocking, and you got half the slab to pour still. It's like, oh, Dad, you sure there's enough in that truck?
Hope there's a genie in there mixing up some stuff.
Yeah, no, it rained last night. Their damn scales are off. That's what he'd say.
That's a real thing.
Call the batch man. Yell as loud as you can. It's like
that's a real thing. If there are any guys getting into it, or
yields are off,
or do-it-yourselfers out there, if you're pouring concrete the day after a rain, the ag is heavy. You will be short. So always beef it up a little bit.
They don't compensate enough for the extra weight. My dad always said he would call the batch man. He's like, hey, take a scoop of gravel. He's like, go out and find it, and then dump a hose on it for 5 minutes, and then tell me if it's any heavier. That's literally.
I can see him do it.
He'd rip into every batch man. He's like, Greg, Jesus, right? We'll send you a yard.
Yeah.
You shorted me, and I'm not paying you. You can shove it up your, you know what I mean.
Well, but there's nothing worse than coming up 2 wheelbarrows short. It's July and 80 degrees.
Yeah.
On a Friday.
30
3:00.
Yeah. So, well, there's a couple questions I want to ask you, and hopefully, like if someone wanted to reach out to you or connect with you in the concrete, because I think this is so helpful. You're running a field, and any business owner that's just in it, like a foreman, small company, all they see is pouring concrete and then the next piece of concrete to pour, right? They can't fall back enough to watch the metrics because they would have to hold themselves accountable, and most people don't want to do that. So I like how you watch metrics to keep others accountable. And I think for any of the business owners out there that need to hey, I need to pull back out of the business and work on it a little bit and really keep metrics, I think that's really helpful that they can reach out to you and whatever. So I don't know where he can best find you. Yeah. If there's any social media or.
So, yeah, I mean, I think right now I'm just running Facebook and Instagram, Alexander Beck on either one of those. Just make sure you find the one from Grand Forks at MAK Construction. Working on putting together a LinkedIn here. So,
cool.
Maybe I can get that hammered out before this actually goes live, and we can put a little snippet.
Yeah. We'll get you a headshot. We'll get you all fixed up. We're heavy on LinkedIn.
If not, email is always good to alex@makconstructiongf.com.
There you go. Yeah.
Shoot over any questions. Like I said, I work with a lot of guys too that I just met in Vegas, and they do just over the email consulting. If I have a question, they just fire it back.
Right. Yeah. And it's so helpful because, like I said, you have one shot in concrete. Alex has been with us since we've done $500,000 a year in concrete, all the way up to doing, almost freaking 8 figures in concrete. So you have to, there's a lot of barriers and there's a lot of areas you need to watch as you grow. And we've went through a lot of adversity and problems and different things, mistakes that we could probably prevent you from making.
Yep. We learned it.
So ask for help. Don't be a stubborn ass, and don't say, hey, I know everything, because in concrete, there can be some stubborn asses out there. Ask for help, man. Hit us up. And if we can help you, Alex will, and he knows the stuff when it comes to concrete, especially the metrics behind it. So have any owner reach out. But I got a couple questions for you before we wrap this up that you don't know. And I told him I'd throw them in tears, but we're not going to throw you in tears. And this is personally or business-wise, you can, most people adapt it to business, but, in 5 years, where do you envision yourself, or maybe where you envision the company, and maybe both, personally and business-wise?
So business-wise, with the growing, even this last year, we brought on even more team members that are going to kind of scale us even more, which we're really excited about.
Good.
We dabbled in Fargo a little bit. 5 years, honestly, I see that being a real thing, right? We're going to be in the Fargo market. I'd be willing to say in 5 years, we'll probably be within 150 mile radius of Grand Forks.
Okay.
Ideally, just from like the concrete side that I work with the most, right now we're running probably about 25 guys a season.
Yep.
I think that could easily double.
Right.
I think it would have to easily. Yeah. Probably 50 to 75.
Wow.
Personally, you
don't have any babies yet.
No, I don't.
I'm not sure if you got a fiance or
I got a girlfriend.
Okay. Sorry.
So maybe. Maybe engaged, maybe married. I don't know. We'll see how that works. We're pretty fresh.
Oh, does she know that? She's going to listen to this?
I don't know. I might have to hide it. We'll see. It's going well so far. So fingers crossed.
You're doing fine. Don't worry about anything here. We got it. We got you.
So that would be, and then, just continuing to develop. I don't see myself leaving in the next 5 years. I moved up here to do 4 years of school and leave, and now this is my 14th year in North Dakota. So
yeah, you're here forever.
Yeah.
And, no, it's good. It's good that you want to be, purposeful with your 5 years. And, obviously I'm not running and promoting and pushing the concrete division. I'm trying to lift everybody up is really what I'm trying to do. It's your guys' passion to help elevate everything in the construction industry. And so I appreciate your,
I'm pretty optimistic for what the concrete side can do.
Yeah.
Like after 5 years, that was this conversation we had. We've almost doubled, our revenues almost every year. And which is not easy to do. And, the number keeps getting bigger. And
I know.
What, are we talking like, okay, so now we're looking at like 14, 15 next year? Like, I need a lot of guys.
I need a lot of guys.
And a lot of work. So
Yep. A lot of processes.
But also, if anybody does listen and they have some concrete jobs or anything out there, also feel free to reach out to our team.
Good point. Yeah, if you're passionate about the concrete field, maybe you don't even know where you're going in college. Maybe you went to school for 7 years for teaching and decided, hey, the trades pay decent. Honestly, probably better than teaching. Sorry,
they do. Yeah, yep. By a lot.
They do
by a lot. Yeah.
We're a growing company with growing positions. So we're looking for leaders.
And we're looking for all positions. And we do part-time. We do seasonal stuff.
Yeah.
We always love to hire guys on full-time. But the one unique thing that, you've actually provided for us here at MAK is the benefit side of things. Our 401ks, our health benefits, the life insurances, top to bottom, those aren't, this is a non-union state. So these aren't things that are traditionally offered to employees that we have the opportunity to enjoy. So
yeah, these are careers, not just jobs, right? Like this is full insurance. Like there's some stuff that we've done that like most construction companies probably don't offer. So we give you an opportunity to have a career here, not I'm looking to make you better no matter if you work here or someone else. If someone works for MAK for a while and they leave, my hope is to make a better person, kind of like as you referred to earlier. So that's a key point, man. Like the benefits are huge nowadays.
They are.
It takes a lot off. It's expensive. Man, is that expensive. But okay, last question. What does unfollow the herd mean to you?
Ooh. When I first saw it, I guess when I heard you first speak about it, really stepping outside of your comfort zone, taking that first risk. And maybe, we've all been knocked down, you get knocked on your ass a time or two, but, if you're willing to take that chance and blaze your own path, there's a reason why people go with the flow, right? They just fall in line. The beaten path's there. This is what I'm supposed to do. It's easy. It's non-resistant. Kind of stepping outside and you're a really good example of that is stepping outside of the mold, moving on to maybe a different project. Maybe you didn't use the same mentality or order that somebody else did, but finding success in that can be, I think, probably even more rewarding than just, okay, well, I went to school for 4 years. I got a job. Like, right? That's what success is supposed to be.
Yep.
But kind of going outside the bounds and kind of looking at it that way. It's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah, it's being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what it is. But when it's your calling, and you kind of get addicted to that too. So I love that, man. I appreciate you.
Right on.
Thanks for being on the show. We'll do follow-ups later. We'll see you guys in the next one.